Pianist Frank Tedesco sits down at a piano, listens to a stranger's favorite song once, and just plays it back perfectly. No sheet music, no preparation, just pure musical magic happening in real time. Today, we're diving into learning piano songs by ear, specifically how to identify keys using intervals, decode chord progressions like the pros, and develop the relative pitch skills that make this possible. By the end of this episode, you'll understand the step-by-step method that internet sensations like Frank use, and why this isn't some mystical talent, but a totally learnable skill. So let's break down what's actually happening when someone plays by ear, because I have a feeling this is way more accessible than most people think.
You're absolutely right about that accessibility piece. Playing piano by ear means listening to music and reproducing it without written notation. But here's the thing, contrary to popular belief, this doesn't require perfect pitch or some rare natural talent.
Wait, really? Because when I see someone like Frank Tedesco do it, it feels like watching a superpower.
I totally get that reaction. But according to research from conservators and universities worldwide, anyone can develop this ability with the right approach. It's actually a trainable skill rooted in cognitive science and deliberate practice.
Okay, so what exactly are we talking about when we say playing by ear? Like, are we expecting to nail Rachmaninoff after one listen?
Ha, no. Let's manage expectations here. When we talk about playing by ear, we're typically talking about picking out chords and melodies. We're not talking about playing challenging piano concertos note perfect after one listen. The aim is to identify the key, chords, and melody so you can busk and improvise your favorite songs. For popular music, it's totally reasonable to think we can replicate catchy piano parts with some accuracy.
That makes way more sense. So we're talking about being able to sit down and play like a Taylor Swift song or something after hearing it?
Exactly. And here's what's interesting. Learning by ear actually brings unique benefits that sheet music reading doesn't. It enhances emotional connectivity to music, promotes flexibility and creativity for improvisation, and develops your ear for musical elements like pitch and rhythm.
Interesting. So it's not just a different path to the same destination, it's actually developing different skills?
Absolutely. According to Pianist magazine, ear-based playing promotes quicker transposition, improvisation, and emotional expression. You're not bound by the written page, you're connected directly to the sound.
And some pretty legendary musicians went this route, right?
Oh yeah. The Beatles, Elton John, and Ray Charles often relied on instinct and listening rather than notation. These weren't people who couldn't read music, they just found that playing by ear gave them a different kind of musical freedom.
Okay, so I'm convinced this is worth learning. Walk me through Frank Tedesco's actual method. How does he do what he does?
All right, so Frank breaks it down into 3 main steps. First, he finds the key using intervals. He uses this reference note technique. He'll hit a note like C before listening to the song, then compare what he hears to that reference.
So he's basically giving himself a musical anchor point?
Exactly. And here's where it gets really practical. Frank uses interval tricks to speed up recognition. Like, he associates the minor second interval with the Jaws theme, major second with Happy Birthday, perfect fifth with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Wait, that's brilliant. So instead of trying to identify abstract musical intervals, you're connecting them to songs you already know?
Exactly. Your brain already knows these patterns, you're just giving it a way to access them. The Star Wars theme for perfect fifths, Here Comes the Bride for perfect fourths. Each interval has a signature sound you can recognize with practice.
This is making so much more sense now. What's step 2?
Step 2 is understanding chord progressions. Once Frank establishes the key, he figures out the diatonic chords, the chords built from that key's scale. So if a song is in F minor, he knows to look for chords from the A major family.
And I'm guessing most pop songs use similar chord patterns?
You got it. Most pop and rock songs use the same 3-4 chords over and over. Think IIVV or IVVIV patterns. Once you learn to identify these by ear, entire playlists open up to you.
So it's like learning the musical equivalent of common sentence structures in language?
That's a perfect analogy. And step 3 is using bass notes to confirm chords. Frank listens closely to the lowest notes in the recording and uses his interval skills to identify how the bass line moves.
Okay, but let's get real for a second. This sounds like it requires some serious ear training. How long does it actually take to develop these skills?
Great question. Here's where the science gets really encouraging. A landmark study published in the Journal of Research in Music Education found that students who engaged in regular ear training exercises showed a 40% improvement in melodic dictation accuracy over a single academic year.
40% in 1 year? That's actually pretty fast progress.
Right? And here's the key insight from Professor Gary McPherson at the University of Melbourne. He says playing by ear is not a gift reserved for the talented few. It's a skill that develops through systematic exposure, active listening, and regular practice.
So, what's actually happening in our brains when we develop these skills?
The ability to play by ear is closely linked to relative pitch, the capacity to recognize intervals between notes rather than identifying pitches in isolation. Unlike perfect pitch, which is largely innate and rare, relative pitch can be developed at any age.
And that's what we're actually training when we do those interval exercises?
Exactly. The brain's auditory cortex is remarkably plastic. With the right stimuli, anyone can improve. Researchers at the Royal College of Music have demonstrated that structured listening activities improve both oral acuity and improvisational confidence.
All right, so I'm sold on the science, but where does someone actually start? Like, if I wanted to try this tonight, what would I do?
Start with songs you already know really well. Pick a tune that's burned into your memory. Happy Birthday, Let It Be, any pop melody you can hum. Familiarity makes it easier to connect what you hear to the keys.
That makes sense. You're not fighting to learn the song and the technique at the same time.
Exactly. And here's a practical tip. Break songs into sections. Don't try to play an entire song at once. Focus on the intro, then the verse, then the chorus. It's actually how blind pianists like Nobuyuki Tsuji learn music, one phrase at a time.
And I'm guessing there are apps and tools to help with the interval training part?
Absolutely. There are programs like Earmaster or Berklee College of Music's online courses that offer comprehensive curricula. These typically include daily practice routines that gradually increase in complexity.
What about the solfège thing I keep hearing about? Do, re, mi, and all that.
Solfège is incredibly powerful. It's the system of singing melodies using syllables like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. It involves active participation from your auditory and vocal systems, which reinforces your memory of intervals.
So you're literally singing the relationships between notes?
Exactly. It gives your brain a context for understanding intervals. The syllables allow you to associate singable words with different notes. Solfège has been a cornerstone of conservatoire's training for centuries.
And what about using your voice while you're learning songs? Does that actually help?
Oh, absolutely. Using your voice helps you internalize pitch, phrasing, and rhythm. You don't have to be a great singer, just match the melody and translate it onto the keyboard. It creates this direct connection between what you hear and what you play.
I love that this isn't about being perfect. It's about building that connection between your ear and your hands.
That's exactly right. And here's something encouraging. Even experienced pianists without perfect pitch don't get it right on the first attempt every time. The trick is getting close enough that you can work it out in seconds.
So it's okay to use trial and error while you're learning?
Absolutely. If you're new to playing by ear, pick a note and play it a few times over the song. You'll immediately know if it's really far off because it will sound terrible. But if it fits, you know that note is diatonic to the key.
And I imagine once you start recognizing these patterns, it gets easier and easier?
Exactly. The page content mentions that consistent daily practice is key. Include varied exercises in your routine, like identifying intervals in your favorite songs or playing call and response games. Different contexts and musical styles enhance your adaptability.
What about people who are worried they don't have any musical talent? Is this still accessible?
Here's the thing, anyone can learn to play piano by ear with a few learnable skills and perseverance. You need to develop a good sense of pitch through ear training exercises, understand basic music theory like scales and chords, and have basic piano technique.
So it's really about building these specific skills rather than having some innate gift?
Absolutely. The best way to learn piano without reading music is by training your ears and developing musical judgment. Through repetition and incorporation of what you're playing, you can advance without knowing how to read notation.
And there's something freeing about that approach, right? You're not constrained by what's written on the page?
Exactly. Learning piano by ear unlocks an entirely different relationship with the instrument. You're connected directly to the sound rather than being bound by written notation. It's more intuitive and often more emotionally expressive.
So when you step back from all this, what's the real takeaway here?
The real takeaway is that playing piano by ear isn't magic. It's a systematic skill that anyone can develop. Whether you're dreaming of sitting down at a party and playing your favorite song, or you want to improvise freely, this opens up a world of musical freedom.
And the science backs this up. We're talking about 40% improvement in just 1 year with regular practice, brain plasticity that allows learning at any age, and techniques that legendary musicians have used for decades.
Right. And here's what makes this so accessible. You start with songs you already know, use reference points like movie themes to learn intervals, and build up your chord vocabulary gradually. It's not about perfection, it's about connection.
The key insight is that your brain already knows these musical patterns from all the songs you've heard throughout your life. You're just learning to access that knowledge consciously.
Exactly. And with tools like interval training apps, solfege practice, and breaking songs into manageable sections, you have everything you need to start developing this skill tonight.
So here's your homework. Pick one song you know by heart, sit down at a piano or keyboard, and try to find just the first few notes. Don't worry about getting it perfect. Just start building that connection between your ear and your hands. Remember Frank Tedesco sitting down and playing strangers' songs instantly? That's not magic, that's